Salute, everyone. The streets are buzzing. Welcome to the chat show. We shout you out, we keep it 100, and just healthy Knicks talk. New York Knicks took another L. What else is new? And it's time. It's absolutely time to switch things up. That's what we're going to talk about today. We saw the same starting unit today. We're going to talk about the box score also. Talk briefly on tonight's game, but mainly what's to come for these New York Knicks. And what's ahead. It is definitely time to make some moves. The starting unit's just not getting it done, and we spoke about it last night. Taking L's for no reason, for no cause for the future isn't serving this organization well. But of course, the New York Knicks are probably showcasing some of these players as well. So we're going to talk about some of the pieces that we want to move on from, and what we think we can get for them. Salute Solfinger number 12. Salute, hope you're well, fam. A frustrating game again. The New York Knicks hang tough throughout this game. You could see more effort, but at the end of the day, what's effort going to give you? If you're not getting any results, especially with these vets right now, they're just holding up the development of the younger players. Especially tonight, Kemba Walker, logged minutes. Cam Reddish, you see him in the thumbnail, couldn't even get any minutes tonight. Probably showcasing these vets to clear the runway for Cam Reddish, but you see the box score there. Walker played 30 minutes, quickly 11 minutes only as well. Nerlens 20 minutes, Randle 37, didn't have it going tonight. We're going to talk about it. Julius Randle's performance, he's hearing the rumors, he's hearing the buzz out there as well. And Solfinger, the free throws as well. You've been screaming to hit the free throws from day one. We still can't hit free throws again. The New York Knicks need to lock themselves in the gym, right, and shoot those free throws. But they made another little fake comeback. Just couldn't get over the mountain today. The Bucks killed us in the last 20-30 in the last quarter. That was the ball game, and of course the first quarter, giving up 39 points was crazy. We're going to touch on some positives tonight also. RJ Barrett, solid performance in 35 minutes. Was 6 of 20, 3 of 8 from 3-point, 8 of 10 from the line. 23 points, was just a -2 tonight. Could have got some more rebounds, 4 rebounds. Definitely needs to improve in that area. But 3 assists, 2 steals, just 2 turnovers as well. RJ Barrett, solid performance tonight. Evan Fournier, building up that trade value. Salute Allah. Out rebounded 8 to 20 in the fourth, right? That was crazy. How many offensive rebounds did we give up, right, in that last couple of sequences, right? It was frustrating, but we're looking at bigger picture tonight. We're looking at bigger picture. Time to switch this thing up. Time to switch it up. The New York Knicks are stuck in mud, and we're going nowhere fast, right? Cam Reddish, we're all chomping at the bit to see some Cam in action, and I think it's not going to be long. Not going to be long before one Cam Reddish gets some more minutes. We've got to hold on for another, what is it, another 11 days, 11, 12 more days before we definitely see some moves up in here. Hopefully we're blessed and we see some more moves before that as well. Kemba Walker, do you guys think he's going to continue starting? Because I just don't even see what's the point in starting Kemba Walker right now. I don't even know what his trade value is going to be like, and I do think it quite possibly could be headed towards a buyout with Kemba Walker. Quite possibly, unless a team can give us a second round pick or so. But Kemba Walker's not doing this team any favors right now. Julius Randle, another, he's hearing the rumors and everything's getting to his head right now. He's not playing good ball at all. I do think there'll be some takers for Randle still. I do think, Sacramento, keep an eye out on that situation. Fournier wouldn't even give RJ 5 when he was on the line, left him hanging. Man, they're hearing it, LR. They know that trade's coming. The situation, right? The writing's on the wall for this ball club right now. These players, these vets know. When more leaked out yesterday for Brian Windhorst, Bleacher Report went with that story that that the New York Knicks are looking to field offers for their vets in Alec Burks, Evan Fournier, and Kemba. Let's hope we can get something back for these vets and clear the runway. Right, I'm dying to see some Cam Reddish action. RJ Barrett, solid performance. Toppin got 14 minutes tonight. Obi Toppin, just 2 rebounds, 5 points. Obi was lively like he normally is, but he's going to need some more minutes. Noel, another vet whose future is up in the air. Nerlens Noel, continues to get minutes, 20 minutes tonight. Continues to fall over often. Held his own against Giannis. Did Noel, but it's another case of more money sunken into that vet that's not swinging the needle for this club. Right, Noel's not doing anything, and Alec Burks as well. 18 minutes tonight for Alec Burks. Was a team worst, minus 21 for Alec Burks and just 10 points as well. I don't know if we're showcasing Alec Burks. It's not going well at the moment. He's not really, enticing any kind of team with his play recently. And like Solfinger says, you can definitely see that there are issues in the locker room. That's why, yeah, exactly, Solfinger, 100%. We do need to clear things up ASAP, right, before this thing gets even worse, before it blows up, and it starts to rub off, on some of these younger players, right? These younger players for the future. And Quickly didn't have a great game tonight as well. Quickly struggled. Just 11 minutes tonight. 2 of 6. Still trying to figure out where he can get his shots, right? Minus 15, 5 points for Quickly. It's just affecting everyone. Like Solfinger, number 12 says. This club's hearing the rumblings, the buzz, and it's affecting them right now. But they did give fourth better effort tonight than they did against Miami. But at the end of the day, we just got ran over in the last as well. And Allah says, when we was down 1, Giannis cooked Noel for 8 straight. That he did, yes sir. Giannis Antetokounmpo, reigning MVP, cooked Noel, and I want to see those minutes go to go a small ball lineup or go to Jericho Sims. Let Jericho Sims get some burn right now because the Nerlens thing, it's just not working out for us. Mitchell Robinson fought hard like he usually does. Mitch, 25 minutes, 3 of 3 from around the cup. Again, free throws, horrible. 1 of 6 from Mitch from the line. Mitch needs to sit himself in the gym, right, and just shoot free throws. No arc on the shot, like straight line drive. Mitch is certainly struggling. It's in his head too. He's shooting 50% or less from the line. But Mitch got himself 4 offensive boards. So salute to him for that. 6 boards overall. 1 block was just a -2 and 7 points. So you can see the players that are holding their own on this club right now. It's Mitch, it's RJ for most of the season. Fournier's picked his play up of recent times. He's probably playing himself into a possibility that a team might be interested. But everyone else, they're too inconsistent, going missing every single night. Shame how they out hustled us over compared to the last game. They played better, but some played hero ball, taking very bad shots. Yep, agree, Solfinger. No offensive cohesion. No offensive cohesion, and they just don't know what they're doing right now on offense. And Allah, you seen Fournier miss the finger roll? He was running too fast, right? The younger day Noel would have straight jumped up and slammed that one down, right? Noel's had some dunks in his time. I can't believe that he couldn't get up, right? Open court, open floor, couldn't finish, right? That's disaster written all over it. And yeah, Evan Fournier, though, yeah, he did hold his own defensively tonight, did shoot the ball decent. And I'm hoping that Noel Fournier, sorry, can get some of that trade value up, which I think he definitely has in the last month. I'm going to say ever since we played Boston again, Fournier's been closer to the Fournier of old, that we signed, and 7 boards, 3 assists as well, all round game, +7 for Fournier tonight, +7, 25 points, solid performance. And Kemba Walker was in the positive too, +6, 8 points, 30 minutes. Kemba tried hard tonight as well, but it's clear he's just not the long-term solution, for this club. He's not the long-term solution, right? What do you guys want to see switched up next? It's time to switch this thing up. We're ready to switch it up. And, the New York Knicks have had their tough stretch. Like I said, coming into this, we had Miami, Milwaukee. Who else do the New York Knicks play? Next, we got Sacramento, fittingly, Sacramento on Monday. A team that we're in, trade talks with, a lot of trade buzz hitting Sacramento. You got Buddy Hield, you got Harrison Barnes, Halliburton, possibly Fox, Bagley on the block, right? That's going to be crazy, right? Heading into that lineup with all these rumors and buzz swirling in Sacktown, right? Maybe we leave with someone else new on the plane and we leave somebody behind them down there. A lot of people talking about Halliburton. Wouldn't mind that option up in here. A young guard, another guard with potential, young player that can fit into this timeline that we have now. Right, this is a new timeline for me with RJ Barrett, Cam Reddish, who we're dying to see some more action, and also you got your Mitch, Obi, Quickly, Grimes, McBride, all the young bulls, Sims, and it's time to get with that level of timeline, in my opinion. Try to sell off a lot of these vets, see what we can get. Alec Burks, I was hopeful he could get us a first round selection. He's making it look tough right now. He's making it look tough. We're trying to showcase him, but he's not playing great whatsoever. Alec Burks, when his shot's not falling, you kind of wonder, what else is he doing? Defensively, he's not great. Alec Burks, he's got the pull-up 3. That's a weapon that can help some teams out. But when he ain't hitting the shot, where is he helping us? And start IQ and Grimes, put Burks and Cam with Fournier, Obi, and Noel off the bench. Yeah, I'm with that. Nice suggestion there, in terms of switch ups. IQ, Grimes, got some solid young offensive and defensive two-way players. Burks and Cam with Fournier, Obi, and Noel off the bench. Because we need to rest Kemba's knees. Yeah, facts. And Solfinger agrees. Appreciate that. Kemba situation, right? It'll be tough. It'll be tough to see a trade happen for Kemba, in my opinion. But I do think we could get a buyout. I think we'll possibly buy Kemba out, right? We know the situation with Tibbs. He's not prepared to bring Kemba off the bench at all, right? We backed ourselves into a hole with that. When you got a player that's either a starter or they're not in the rotation, that's tricky. That's tricky right there. We're stuck with that situation. And Tibbs is in this situation. It's a hot mess right now. The front office, they're hearing the talk, the rumblings, and the New York Knicks are going nowhere fast. Right, we got Sacramento next on Monday. Then on Wednesday, the Grizzlies, who are balling out. The Grizzlies are playing tough right now. Then, of course, the West Coast trip, Lakers, Jazz continues, Nuggets, Warriors, Blazers, Thunder, Nets, Heat, Sixers again, the Suns, the Clippers. My goodness, that stretch is brutal coming up right now. Absolutely brutal. And we know where our fate's headed this season, right? I'll be genuinely surprised if we stay pat, in terms of any moves coming up, and also be quite surprised if we can make the play in. Even the play in is going to be pretty tough. Of course, there's a big chance they can, but with this lineup coming up, it's tough. And I salute Duras, salute. Time to switch this thing up, man. The New York Knicks, they've had a lot of chances. We've been very patient. Not a lot of organizations would have waited this long, and given this many, these vets this many chances, right? What are we, past 50 games, right? We are past 50 games. That's a fact. And we're still seeing this same thing over and over again, right? It's the same movie. We know how the story ends. New York Knicks, of course, these players, they'll continue to put in more effort. They know they're they're in the trade block. They know that there's a lot of talk about them getting moved and trying to raise their value. So I think that we're going to continue to play harder, which is unfortunate that they wait now. But having said that, the time's run out for these guys now. The time has run out. The hourglass is empty, and we're here to switch it up. And Allah says we haven't won since Kemba been back starting as well. Yeah, facts. 6 games, right? I think it's been like 6 games. The one game we won in the last 6-7 game stretch was a game that Kemba didn't play as well. So let that sink in. And yeah, this is truly the definition of insanity, Soulfinger, right? We're watching the same movie, Groundhog Day, and Tibbs needs to be held accountable as well. The front office and Tibbs, they need to sit down and have a really good talk tonight, because I know some of these vets are getting packaged, but we're wasting time. We're wasting time giving these young fellas minutes. And Duras is ready to fire people out of here. Vets up on the jet. The jet's getting warmed up. We're about 10 days away, ladies and gentlemen, from the trade deadline. The Knicks are open for business, right? Open slather. We've got Burks. Who wants to take him for the highest bid? Fournier, right? He's playing himself, into ways that he can help a team out. And tell me what moves you think are most likely in terms of who we're bringing up in here, right? Who do you think we're targeting the most? For me, the point guard situation, that's got to be the biggest need right now, and what they look at, what they address, right? You got the Jalen Brunson thing happening in Dallas, the Sacktown situation that bears watching. Reports also today that the Sacramento Kings have pivoted towards away from Philly now, right? They're sick of the demands. They're sick of the demand. Daryl Morey's asking for Ben Simmons. They want no parts of that. They want no parts of the Simmons thing. Yeah, a lot of people are getting sick of that. The Sixers are holding on to their demand for James Harden, and it seems very, very unlikely they're going to get what they're looking for right now. They're doing some heavy posturing right now. Is the Philly 76ers. On the other side, the New York Knicks are open for business, right? And I think Julius Randle, as reported by Ian Begley, SNY, and a lot of other reports now, Julius Randle on the block. You saw tonight just, running back on or jogging back on D, right? We also saw Obi Toppin fall to the ground in front of Julius Randle, and Julius Randle looked at him and then looked away and then walked away, right? Straight disrespect. Did not even go to help Obi Toppin up at all. And the other teammates ran to him. So also, right, Julius Randle checking out of this situation right now. Allah, you notice how Randle wasn't even looking for his shot. He was making sure Kemba and Fournier got their features. Yeah, Julius, he put out that PR article this morning as well with The Athletic. He's hearing the noise. He wants to maybe go out on a good note, talking about he'd still like to be the one to bring the championship to New York. He'd still like to be around and give this thing a go. But Julius, your time's ticking right now. Where was this action? Where was this talk at the start of the season? The effort levels, the energy levels. I'm okay with the shot not falling, for Julius Randle, right? Last year, it was an aberration in terms of the 3-point shot. But if he came into this season and was giving maximum effort, hustling back on D, grittiness, grinding out there, helping teammates, being unselfish, all of that, right? I don't think we would have been hearing the same kind of buzz around Julius, if he was just giving us that effort, but he's not. And we are where we are right now, right? We're a losing record with a roster stack full of vets, and it's time to switch this thing up. Get Cam Reddish, as you see in the thumbnail, Cam Reddish and Star J Barrett. Let them thrive on the wing together with Quentin Grimes and Solfinger. Randle took a page out of Elf's book. This lack of effort is why everyone wants him out of here as well. Salute to you for that take. Spot on. The New York Knicks fans, we just want to see people hustle and fight hard each and every night, just like we do. We go to work, we earn our bread. We want these guys to go out there and rep the city, rep the jersey with pride right now. And Julius just ain't been doing that. And that's facts, right? We can all see it for our eyes, right? Our eyes don't lie to us. And what's going to be even more upsetting is that when the All-Star, we're getting close to the All-Star break, right? Julius got excited, everyone got excited when he became an All-Star last season. He ain't going to sniff the All-Star this week. The only time Julius is going to get close to the All-Star game this week is if him and his wife and his children are sitting in the stands. That's the closest Julius is going to get to being an All-Star this season, right? What a fall from grace, right? It was a crazy rise, and it's been a crazy fall for Julius Randle and this club, right? The front office, they don't get off scot-free. Kemba Walker, Evan Fournier, these additions, giving out the money to Nerlens Noel, Alec Burks, and D Rose, who's been injured. That set us back big time. Like I said, fortunately, the shining light this season has been RJ. It's been Mitch, it's been Grimes, McBride in glimpses, Quickly and Obi in glimpses as well. We're just very, very fortunate at this point in time that we do have, upwards of 5, 6, 7 young players with Cam Reddish now that have a bright future for this New York Knicks team that we can look forward to seeing. Randle can't even participate in the skills challenge this year, right? Yeah, they may reject that application, saying, "Hey, we've seen your handles. They don't cut it." And Solfinger, number 12, he crashed and burned so fast. And what a difference 1 year makes, right? Yeah, a difference that he signed a maximum contract, right, and set his future up for life. With that, that's been the biggest difference that happened in the off season, right? Julius's game didn't really change. His effort level changed, and his bank account changed. That's the main thing that's changed up in here. And his motivation, his hunger, and he's checked out, right? I think Julius is checked out, and for obvious different reasons as well. Reports that Julius is not happy with the front office moves. I can understand if he's not happy with them. Reggie left, Elf left. Look at the upgrades they brought in, weren't really upgrades so far. And Julius took the pay cut. So he would have been like, man, what are you getting me? What are you doing for me? And at the same time, though, what's inexcusable is that, you can be unhappy with the front office moves and all that, but don't let that translate on the court. Don't let that translate on the court and your effort, your energy, your body language, all of that, right? Just don't quit on your teammates, or you're a pro, you're earning, quality bread, help your teammates out, be a solid professional out there, right? And don't tank it like he does. I can't take the jogging back on D right now. It's sickening to see. I'd rather just let the young players, take all those minutes. You know what I mean? And I salute to the wise one, Jay Boogie, got it on lock. Appreciate it. Trade Julius Randle so that we don't have both. Trade Julius for Randle so we don't have both of them. Salute. Hey, on the money there, Jay Boogie. Frustrating, isn't it, man? This situation, right? We're ready to switch this thing up like a light switch, man. I'm ready to turn this light off for this season, right? And just when I turn the light back on, I just want to see young players on the court. That's it, like Harry Houdini's disappearing act. When we switch the light off, I want young players back when the lights come back on, and a trade, for these vets to be on the next jet smoke. And Solfinger says, I can understand he isn't happy too with the changes. Front office let him down, but he's a professional, period. He dropped his pack and then left the team hanging as well. I agree. Straight facts, Solfinger in the 12. It's not a good look too, right? I don't know how many franchises now, they're seeing it. They're seeing all this, and who's going to want to take a chance on that now with 4 or 5 years left, back on this deal. And LR, I think he can get back his effort changed. He can't play with the new guys. The chemistry is off bad, but he has to be a pro at all times. Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, facts. Jay Boogie, yes sir. Time to go young as well. Yeah, most looking forward to seeing RJ, Cam, Reddish, Mitch up in here, Deuce. Let's see Deuce. Deuce McBride's a two-way player, right? He can get better every single game. We want to see Deuce get some burn. Quentin Grimes impressing me, each and every day. Yeah, he could hold his head high. Can that young fella, Quentin Grimes, plays both ends of the court. Tonight in 18 minutes was 4 of 8, efficient again, 3 of 7, 2 rebounds, a steal, a block. Minus 20 was 11 points. Quentin Grimes can still hold his head high. He gave maximum effort like he always does, and he has a bright future for us, for the orange and blue. And salute Drew. Team is a joke, bro. Tibbs is senile, and Randle still sucks as well. Facts, he does. Right now his effort level sucks, Drew. And what he's doing for us, he's checked out. Julius Randle got paid the bag, and it's another cautionary tale in New York City sports, right? The player getting paid the bag and then turning the other cheek, right? Sickening. He should have come out here fighting tooth and nail, even more motivated than he's ever been, right? Seeing this generational wealth and arm, leg, arm, head salute, Jay Boogie. What young players and what moves for young players do you guys want to see? In terms of, now we're talking about switching this thing up, and pivoting away from these sorry vets that are stealing minutes, right? Like thieves in the night, and stealing the minutes. So in terms of that, like who do you want to bring in here and give all the minutes to? Cam Reddish is one that I want to see start at the 3 as well. Cam Reddish, Obi, Mitch, and then we can see RJ at the 2 together with Quickly or Grimes. Quickly or Deuce as well. And Tom Thibodeau, he's stuck in this situation. He's brought these vets in here, right? Does he go down with the ship as well? Just how long does Tibbs stick around for? Drew says there, like Tibbs, we're down 9 with the second unit, minus Fournier and RJ. Why sub the minus 30 lineup back in? That's just stupid, man. Yep, I can hear your frustration through the screen, Drew. And Tibbs is going to Tibbs, I think, before the trade deadline. He's up in there hoping he can turn this thing around, right? He's thinking never say die still, which is, it's past it. We've run out of time with these vets. And of course, the New York Knicks in the record now are back to 4 games under 500 with this crazy stretch coming up. Like I said, we've got the Kings, the Grizzlies, Lakers, Jazz, then Nuggets, Warriors, Blazers, Thunder, Nets, Heat, back-to-back against the Sixers and Suns. That's some crazy stretch out there, right? How many can we win out of that? Maybe 2, 3, 4 games max out of that stretch. It's telling, it's go time for this franchise now. We need to pivot ASAP and start giving these young Kings minutes. And Soulfinger Allah is the voice of truth, keeping those jewels coming. And Drew, I'm honestly now on the fence on giving Tibbs another year as well. I don't blame you whatsoever. I wouldn't be mad if we switched things up, at the end of the year. And I think, we could do without the disruption of firing the coach mid-season, right? that'd be tough to swallow again. But in the summer, maybe this organization waits till the summer to make a huge shake up, and then cut bait and make that big shake up then, because it's the time's coming, right? Honestly, we've seen this movie so many times as Knicks fans, right? We know when the team is at the crossroads, and that they certainly are right now. And Drew says, yeah, and also Obi almost outscored Randle again in the half of time. Yep, that's crazy. You see the box score as well, bringing up Obi in just his 14 minutes, right? 5 points. Randle with the 9 points. Randle's 37 minutes. Obviously, Randle got rebounds. He got just 3 assists. And we know Randle struggles with length. Definitely, Julius Randle does struggle with some length, and he needs to come to ASAP. But I think it's too late. It's too late for this situation. He came out with this article today saying that he does hope, he'd love to be the one to still bring a chip to New York. But it makes you wonder why he's bringing this out right now, right? It's damage control, public relations. And Solfinger, I want to see Kemba, Fournier, Burks, and Randle gone. Move them for picks and better role players that will not affect Cam, Deuce, Sims getting time. Yep. Yeah, we can only dream, right? We need to see that ASAP. Solfinger. Kemba, no use on this club. Fournier, no use on this club. Burks and Randle. Let's see what we can get, right, for those vets and set us up for the future. Right, set us up. Speaking of, it was a crazy late game tonight, right? 10 o'clock tip Eastern time. Appreciate everyone rocking on the chat show. Shout you out. Keep it 100. Just healthy Knicks talk. And Drew, never mind that in less than a third, almost a quarter of the time. Yeah, absolutely, right. Randall's just checking out. And Jay Boogie, I want Desi Bain next year's first and 2 second rounds. Send them. Let's talk Memphis. Yeah, let's talk. Desmond Bain is straight dog out there, right? He can get it. So can Dylan Brooks. You know what I mean? It's crazy. You bring up Memphis, another club that rebuilt quicker than we did. Cleveland, passed us in the blink of an eye. Memphis passed us. What happens next season? Detroit. Does Detroit pass us next season? Rocking this club, with Julius as the number one option, it just looks and sounds more ridiculous, right? As time goes on, and it's time to function like a normal organization and switch this thing up right now. Switch it up ASAP. Otherwise, we'll get left behind some more. And Drew says to Jay Boogie, I hate to break it to you, but we ain't getting Bain. He's an untouchable for the Grizzlies. Let's see if we can tempt them still. Let's see. But yeah, I agree with Drew. Memphis are most likely going to hang on to their young squad for dear life. And Drew says, and what the Grizzlies did, sign a bunch of vets and found hidden talent in the draft. The same thing as their Dubs from 09 to 12. And what they did not do, they did not sign the bunch of vets. Of course, they let their young fellas now rock out. And that's what we should be doing ASAP, right? We need to pivot and just function like a normal organization right now. Just function like the normal organization. So Jay Boogie, that's a good one. Desmond Bain. I want to see DeJounte Murray, another two-way player. There's rumors out in San Antonio in the Alamo that he's gettable. The San Antonio Spurs are considering their future with DeJounte. Leon Rose needs to be getting on that phone right ASAP and offering picks, offering second round picks, a couple of young pieces even. That would be our starting point guard building block, for the future. Absolutely, that is something we need to fix. And salute Jonovan, salute. Appreciate you. Let's get it. Time to switch this thing up, ladies and gents. It's time. We've seen this movie enough times before. the movie's a flop. It doesn't win no awards. People walk out of the theater halfway through the movie. It's time to get it done. Tell us what you want to see switched up, Jonathan. Which young players do you want to see get burned, and which young players do you want to bring in here? Drew, to be frank, I'd trade Randle to pay off my college debt. I'll just call it cash consideration. So that we're getting to an all-time low now, in terms of value for Randle. And I hope there's just that one team out there that values Randle above and shoulders above what other teams value Randle, right? And we may need to look no further than the Sacramento Kings, right? That need a name. Sacramento need a name to their fans, right? And if they want to keep De'Aaron Fox, then hey, bring Julius Randle in there. He's a name. He can help them rock out a bit with that squad. Give us Halliburton, Harrison Barnes, and we'll call it a day. At the end of the day, we just need, when you need to move on from these vets, you just need one club, right, to really value a player that's going to help them, right? And the Sacramento Kings forever on the treadmill, treading mediocrity, right? Julius Randle may appease some of that front office or that fan base, suffering fan base out there, right? He is a reigning all-star, technically, still, right? If we call it right before the All-Star break, he's still a reigning All-Star. Maybe we need to look down that route. Jay Boogie, peace to the chat, appreciate you. Get some rest, and hopefully when we wake up, Jay Boog, we'll have some jewels up in here. Appreciate you coming through as always. Drew, at least with Fox, he's a jumpsuit away, and Tibbs, we'll give him hell if he doesn't work on his game. This is who Randle is, and his max potential. His jumper. With Fox, he's got young, potential in this game. He's got improvement in him, but like you say, Julius has got no improvement in him. Like we know what Julius is right now, and that's not changing, right? It's damn sad, right? Paying another situation, paying the player a bag and them checking out. And I can understand that he's frustrated with the moves made, but you can't carry on like that, calling the fans out. Also, he got a New York Knicks fan thrown out of Miami, just because the fan pointed out that Julius was a -30 as well. Juju 92 salute. What's good? Damn frustrating. Absolutely, it is. We're here to talk about it. Let's talk switching up the lineups, the roster right now. No one's safe. Nobody's off the hook for this thing, right? Everybody needs to be accountable. It starts at the top. It starts with the front office in Leon Rose in Worldwide West. And, the drafting, the scouting department's doing their job with the draft. But everybody else from Tibbs to the roster, they're just not giving forth the effort we needed to see this season, right? Tonight was a better effort. They fought their shortcomings tonight just didn't, help them out, towards the end of the game, the fourth quarter. But the New York Knicks, are devoid of talent, right? Facts, Solfinger, devoid of talent. We can only fight as much as we can fight, right? We just don't have the athleticism, the athletes, the talent, and players that want to hustle each and every night. But we do have a lot of young, hungry players that are ready to get it, right? Ready to get theirs. I was happy with Mitch's performance tonight. Like we see in just 25 minutes, just a -2, 7 points. He rebounded. He held his own. Did Mitch? He always fights through it. Has he won this front office over in terms of, paying out some money, some well-deserved money to Mitch? Juju 92, Jeremy Grant is way more valuable in the trade market than Randle. I'd rather have Aaron Gordon instead of Randle at this point, man. Like, I don't know if I can disagree with you. That's a sad situation right now. And of course, you got Julius coming off the All-Star berth, And now, we've got players that weren't even all-stars have more value. And did obviously, hindsight's 2020 now, but we definitely did go too soon in extending Julius, right? Imagine if we just waited one more season just to hope and let him prove that he can do it again and ball out. Um, let's imagine if we just waited instead of giving Julius that money ASAP. And Drew says at least Randle's contract isn't as bad as like Jerome, Eddie, and Joakim. Yeah, pray to God that we're in the situation where Randle's contract is lower and $19 million per with 4 years outstanding still. I don't know if we can wait much more longer because the value on that contract is slowly declining by the day. And like Juju does say, facts. Derrick Rose is so important to this team for everything, for pace, for morale, for getting guys up and down the bench unit, unlocking that, getting easy buckets, getting to the cup. Derrick Rose puts rim pressure on the D. Absolutely, Rose is everything. Juju. That's one contract I'm not terribly mad at. It's unfortunate Rose is out right now, but maybe this is for the right. This is all for the right cause. Having this rough season, the New York Knicks probably need to accept where we're at and pivot, right? Because we're years away. We thought we were closer than what we were, but we're actually years away now, and that's okay. We just need to prioritize the moves now in terms of who we're going to give minutes to, who we're going to prioritize for the future. And Juju says, our best lineup is Quick, RJ, Grimes, Obi, and Mitch with Rose out. Randle checked out. Yep, he absolutely checked out. And I'm with that lineup too. I'd love to see that for the rest of the season. I think RJ, another good performance tonight. You see him smiling out there, getting featured more, getting more touches on the ball. Is RJ? He's figuring things out by the day. That's been great to see. And Mitchell Robinson's been the other one, and of course quickly, and let's hope Deuce and Cam can be next. Drew, one thing is no one is winning a trade with Julius involved. The team who trades for him think we'll just lose, but in reality, both will lose as well. It's sad, right? Yeah, that is the hindsight of that. We lost so much value on Randle that we are trading him this soon. We are a loser in the way as well, right? We had the guy under which was a great asset last season, and that's no more. So yeah, great perspective with that one. And Jay Boogs, salute. Drew liked the way RJ played, through despite going 6 of 20. That's just growing pains for him as well. Yeah. And we're in that regard, like we said about Memphis, we're functioning like a normal organization now, prioritizing RJ and giving him this burn that's been much needed, right, for RJ's growth and for the future, right? Just to be able to get him to where he needs to be quicker, right? Instead of holding him back and giving the ball to Randle every single time. And I'm seeing RJ enjoy himself out there a bit more. He does look like he's enjoying himself. And like Drew says, the Randle trade could well be like the KP trade as well. It's a sad fact, but we're trading pennies on the dollar, and let's hope that the Sacramento Kings want an all-star type name player enough, to be able to give us a couple of worthwhile pieces for the future, right? For me, what do you think about Halliburton as well? If we could get Halliburton out of the Randle deal, I'll take that one all day, every day. There's reports now that they're not interested in trading De'Aaron Fox, so that's going to be interesting to see. Buddy Hield, Harrison Barnes, a lot of other pieces that Sacramento will want to move off from. And like Solfing is saying too, we now look like suckers if we're having to trade Randle so soon after giving him the bag after just one season. And how he returned to New York worse than his first season in New York. It's a sad situation right now. But at the end of the day, sometimes you just have to cut bait, addition by subtraction, I think. because it gives the young players, that shine. Sometimes just getting Julius out of here, it can be addition by subtraction, provided we get, we at least get something out of it. Drew says maybe an unprotected 23 first rounder in the deal with Randle. And our RJ can average 25 if he hit his free throws, and that's without forcing it. Even if we get efficient, even if he get efficient even more. Yeah, facts. RJ Barrett's starting to emerge right in this league, and that's been great to see. And imagine what it's going to be like clearing the offense, right, where we have 5 guys on the floor that can just share the ball and nobody too ball dominant. That's going to be even nicer to look at. And one Cam Reddish looking next to RJ Barrett. And yeah, let's call everybody out for their free throw shooting. Facts, Juju. That situation's tough. It makes you wonder. We made a lot of improvement in that area last season, but this season it's been terrible. Drew, the only difference between Randle in year 1 and this year is that Randle isn't the spinning Beyblade anymore. He's now just straight soft as well. Yeah, he's not doing the spin move, but he's just sort of checked out. He's just doing the more run of the mill stuff, right? Passing it, not putting up the shots that he normally does, right? And Drew, I just trust Drew handling with RJ. He's done a fantastic job with RJ. His game will increase in slow increments through at this point as well. Yeah, I agree. RJ Barrett at 21 years old, the game is starting to slow down for Star RJ Barrett, right? You can see it, and I'm just here for it. And I'd love to see him rock out for the rest of this season, just clear the runway for him right now. Clear the runway. And J-Dub, we need to be able to start the youth. Starting lineup of IQ, RJ, Cam, Obi, and Mitch. Yep, sign me up for that today, J-Dub. That'd be nice to see rocking with that for the rest of the season, right? That would actually get me excited. And then maybe backing up would be Rose, Deuce McBride, Grimes, Lucas Samanich, and Jericho Sims. How's that for a bench lineup as well? And Juju, let Randle go on vacay with his family for 2 weeks. Anything that'll help at this point in time, right? Yep. We always say, New York City, the lights are the brightest down here. And yeah, if things aren't going your way, right, you're hearing the noise tenfold, right? The noise tenfold right now. And when you're struggling, it's even worse. And Solfinger, we can't hit the elephant in the backside with an ironing board from the free throw line, right? Yep. And Mitchell Robinson's the culprit at that one as well, the main culprit. And Drew, yeah, says, I'd rather send Randle to Shanghai with Ben. Salute Sincere. Feb 3rd, yep, counting it down. Say bye-bye to Fournier and Randle. Feb 3rd, Sincere. Yeah, we've got our eyes on the clock right now. It's time to switch this thing up. Yeah, clear the runway. Most of the fan base now is getting on that train, right? Yeah, there's still plenty of Randle supporters, and the things that he did last season were one of a kind. We'll always remember the pandemic season and overachieving. Another nice tale, another nice story, like the Linsanity story. But like all too often, it's becoming just a cautionary tale of just a one and done type season, right? Just one and done. It's like, what have you done for us lately? The league done snapped back to earth, and Cleveland overtook us. Detroit overtook us. Memphis is on the come up already. I mean, yeah, we see what organizations can do when they prioritize the right people, right? Not career 27-year-olds that their game's almost the same, right? It's just never going to change. And Juju, I know what you don't want to hear, but I feel like Ben Simmons would get the Knicks back on the map as well. Yeah, let's keep a close eye on that, right? That situation in Philly's ticking by the day. And whilst their trade demands are very, very high, the New York Knicks are probably going to be getting in on it, at least, even in the three-way trade talks. Three-way trade talks as well. I don't see the Simmons thing being just a straight up move. And Drew says, Juju, I got into a nice debate about Simmons helping the Knicks because I was on the opposition of that. And Sincere Randle has the best team-friendly power forward contract in the league. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, that's a saving grace right now for the $19 million that Randle's owed. You know, that is a contract that can be moved, right? And you don't need a whole heap of big salaries, right? The biggest thing is you don't need a whole heap of new salaries to match the Julius in return. And the media and all NBA fans need to stop connecting us to Russ Westbrook. Gets me so upset as well. Yeah, Bobby Marks, the ESPN, the fantasy traders out there do want to get Russell Westbrook back in New York or in New York. Stick it to KD over here. One thing I would like is a player with Westbrook's fight, but not Westbrook, not Westbrook the skill set. Salute, David. Salute. Give us your thoughts after tonight. Again, the story continues. The New York Knicks are in the funk, playing the wrong players, the heavy minutes before the trade deadline. But we are gearing up for a shift right now. We're ready to switch this thing up like a light switch, like Harry Houdini. When we turn the light back on, let's hope that there's only young, talented players playing minutes. J-Dub, what scares me is the Tibbs and Leon is not on the same page, which will cause Leon to move on from Tibbs as well. Yeah, I could see that happening too. And also, I do think it'll happen most likely in the summer. I think in the summer rather than in the mid-season, where you could hide the distraction a little bit right now. If we fired the coach mid-season right now, man, it'd be open slather right now. And the next CBA deal coming up, we have to sign RJ and Mitch. Yet keeping it on lock with the contract situation, right? Two young players that have been consistent for us. Most part, my bright spots this season, like I've been saying, have been RJ, Mitch, and Grimes, and and flashes of Quickly and Obi. Obviously not consistent enough, but flashes. They've shown me things that what they can be in the future and things like that. But for the most part, RJ, Grimes, and Mitch have been more consistent than anybody. And Drew, Westbrook is another veteran with a bad contract. No trades for Westbrook right now, right? And we've done Lakers enough favors, right, ladies and gents. We gave Lakers cash considerations, or we helped them, clear salary, right? Because they're poor right now, they're broke, and we need to pivot away from those vets. Could you imagine if they rocked with Randle still and they tried to resurrect this season by trading for Westbrook, right? And we barely make the play in. Like, man, the pitchforks and knives would be out for this front office, right? That'd be same old Knicks, like trading for Andrea Bargnani, trading a first round selection for that. Except Russell Westbrook comes with a $40 million deal. I'd rather get John Wall up in here, to be honest with you. And how funny would it be if John Wall and Russell Westbrook was traded for each other again? Like they were with Washington and with Houston. What if they were traded for each other again from Houston and Lakers? That'd be crazy. Drew says RJ can possibly take a team discount. I don't know about Mitch though, because of his IG stories, yeah, and his love of motorsport, his motor cars, and Mitch is waiting for that bag, right? He's been playing on a cheap deal. J-Dub, Tibbs is a good coach for a win now team, but not a rebuilding project. Remember when he had a young team in the Wolves that he did not go well, and that did not go well for him as well. Yeah, exactly. He's just too rigid, rigid in his ways, stubborn. He upsets young players. He just doesn't. He's not a personal coach, a man manager, so to speak. You know what I mean? Coaching, you need to be a solid man management as well, right? Like any business, you're managing employees. You need to set the table for everybody to be teamwork and play together, in harmony right now, right? If you have a coach that causes disharmony, that's just even counterproductive right now. And it always reeks of the age too, right? We always bring in dudes on their very, very last legs, hoping to achieve something that they've never been able to achieve. That elusive chip, Tom Thibodeau, 64 years old. Every move and everything he's doing reeks of a guy that is desperate, to achieve something that's eluded him his whole life, right? 64, you're missing out on championships, as a head coach. He's bringing in these guys like D Rose, Taj, trusting Randle, just trusting every single vet, hoping that it's going to work for him. And I just think Mitch is sick of playing with Randle, and in all honesty, because he can't have fun on the court with him as well. Yeah, like Drew, I agree. And David, I'm just waiting for a deal for a young point and the development of Cam Reddish as well. Yeah, I hope that happens ASAP too. Get me that young point, whether it be Fox, Halliburton, even Brunson up in here at this point in time. But also, yeah, Cam Reddish. I'm very, very excited to see what more, we could see more of Cam and what he's done so far in the small sample size. The athleticism, the flashes. And Drew, were the Wolves really rebuilding though? Because they had Jimmy and Cat. I think they just underperformed under Tibbs as well. Yeah, and they had Wiggins as well. Salute Joseph. Yeah, and I really hope Mitch works on setting the picks and the hook shot this off season and get that vertical back soon as well. Yeah, the sky's the limit for Mitch. And sincere Randle, Fournier, Kemba Burks to the Sixers for Ben and Danny Green and a salary dump as well. And a real king salute. Trade rumors abound. Right, let's switch this thing up. Right, these players can run, but they can't hide. Right, when they open the newspapers tomorrow, right, but best believe the same stories are going to be staring them in the face. Tonight they gave better effort. Tonight, barring a couple players on a couple possessions, players fought hard tonight. Tonight's game was more of the shortcomings, just didn't get it done, but they fought valiantly. The Miami game was more atrocious. And Davis says, I'm not upset about what's going on right now. I knew this was how it was going to go. I just hope the front office knows what they are doing as well. Yeah, appreciate that. And also, yeah, I think if you see, judge the overall landscape of the fan base, none of us are sort of angry either. We've reached violent anger before in the past, but I just think there's a bit more of a calmness over the New York Knicks fan base. And we just want to see, like you're saying, the front office show that they're competent, they're capable, and they're prepared to make the right moves, and pivot away from this junk. You know what I mean? They made a mistake in the way, they didn't commit the future, which was good. Maybe that, one side of their thinking was that the New York Knicks, need flexibility, and maybe we don't, we aren't close as we need to be. But the fact is we can pivot from this situation now with these contracts. And J-Dub, remember when Mitch contract is due at the end of this year and RJ and Cam are due at the same time next year as well. This is why we need to see what we got. Exactly. And yeah, it'd be front office malpractice, in the words of Ron Cleveland, in terms of continuing to hide these young players and then not know who you've got, right? And there are talks that the teams are calling the New York Knicks about Emmanuel Quickley, every single day, right? Because again, another young player that we're not playing much, right? Emmanuel Quickley, how many minutes tonight? 11 minutes. See, that is the reason why every single franchise in the NBA is calling the New York Knicks, saying what can we get Emmanuel Quickley for, right? Every other losing club would have been given this guy the starting nod already. You know what I mean? Instead of Kemba Walker. And yeah, Drew, to J-Dub, then getting rid of all the vets is an absolute must as well. Yep, we're on that same page as well. And sincere, Leon gave Tibbs veterans that were available as well. Okay. And Drew says, yeah, Knicks, oh, how naive I am. I guess you don't watch Knicks fan TV. But yeah, if we learn anything again, don't sign new coaches to 5-year contracts, 2 years at the most. Yeah, look, in terms of the flexibility, like we've talked about Leon Rose, he's a new president, right? he's been in this thing just for a minute, right? He has to prove his worth right now. James Dolan's trying to stay out of the way. It's difficult for James. It's always going to be difficult for him because this is his thing. But he watches every single day. He sits back, but um, the ties with CAA are being tested more than ever with Leon Rose, Worldwide West, Tom Thibodeau, right? He's been in bed with CAA for the best part of 2 decades, maybe even longer. And this system, this thing with Kentucky and CAA, right? Where has it been getting us, right? It's not getting us really nowhere, in terms of this connection. And the New York Knicks just need to function like a normal organization and open the doors for anything, any possibility, right? Any player from any college system, any coach, right? We don't need restrictions on us right now and growth. And David, they took a gamble on Kemba, and it's not working out. It's kind of it's kind of a be careful what you wish for scenario. Fans wanted to run Peyton out of town, but Kemba is way worse than Alfred ever was. Yeah, it is a classic tale of that. Obviously Kemba Walker in name, was a lot more sexy, and the New York Knicks, felt that he could give us that boost on offense. But ignoring what's going on with Boston, ignoring what happened with OKC and the buyout, the Kemba Walker situation has been a grand failure. Absolutely, a grand failure. I'm still glad we didn't bring Alfred Payton back. I could do without that distractions, but we need to find that elusive point guard, and get us to where we need to be, right? A young point guard that we can build towards, right? And we have a couple on the roster already. We have Deuce quickly, and we have Rokas, who may come across over in the summer league, and see what we have in that, right? Maybe a starting point guard for the New York Knicks in the future is with us. You know what I mean? But we have vets and picks that we can offload now, and hope that it'll get us to that position sorted sooner than later. And Drew says, yeah, and there's a reason he's a third string point guard. J-Dub, I feel for Tibbs, though. I believe he thought Leon was going to bring him a star with his connection, and it didn't happen. We need to look at Leon as well. He know how to build a team. Does he know how to build a team? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's not proven. He needs to prove himself ASAP, right? He's done a lot of moves that haven't paid off, and Leon Rose is time could be ticking for him as well. There's a reason he doesn't speak much, and Drew says, yeah, Jokic could be our joker as well out of the pick 34 spot. Joseph, I really miss last season's effort. Even when we lost, at least it was maximum effort. Knicks fans appreciate guys who leave it all on the floor. Julius forgot that this year as well. Completely agree. That's been the most frustrating thing, right? Effort. We know what this team lacks in terms of skill set, and deficiencies on the roster. But there's been so many games where we took teams for granted, right? Early in the season too. The losses to Orlando, the losses to Cleveland, a lot of teams. Those losses where we took teams for granted, right? If we just came out and played the right way, this season will be looking a lot different. I think we'd be over 500. And Drew says that this class will be the one to do it because Evan Fournier is not the one at the top of free agents this year as well. David Jokic is intriguing, but Quickly is not a point guard. He dribbles too much and can't get around his defender. Quickly is a shoot off the dribble to guard. Yeah, at this point in time as well, I'm not as high on Quickly being the point guard of the future as well. He is a scoring guard at the moment. His handles need to get tighter. His court vision needs to improve. His decision making in terms of shot selection, just pulling up from deep, willy-nilly, right? Those kind of moles in Quickly's game needs to be fixed as well. But he's young still. Quickly has some time. He has some room to grow, I feel, and with more minutes, he can only get better as a player. And I think there's a reason, like I said, these teams are calling the Knicks all the time for Quickly, right? He's getting 11 minutes. We're giving we're giving Kemba Walker 30 minutes, and quickly 11 minutes, right? That's a future to nowhere, right? That road leads nowhere right now, right? We're not functioning as a proper organization with that. And I only hope it's just to showcase Kemba. If the trade deadline passes and Kemba Walker is still the starting point guard, there'll be protests. I think there'll be protests. And sincere, we have the number one bench in the league. Say bye to our veterans. Feb 3rd. Yep, absolutely. Sign me up. Let's switch this thing up. Cam Reddish, the forgotten man almost. He's become the forgotten man. Kevin Knox is getting more burn than Cam Reddish is, right? Let that sink in. But that's not going to be for too long, let's hope, because the situation, the showcase, the logjam, the New York Knicks need to get right after the trade deadline. We need to fix this thing and clear the runway for these young studs. And Cleveland did the same thing as the Grizzlies with their rebuild as well. Yep. And I salute them. They're doing the right things out there, and it's paying off right now. It's paying off. It's not paying off for us because look what we're doing, right? It's completely asinine playing these guys the minutes we're playing them. But again, not to be all negative, I want to reinforce some positives this season. Mitchell Robinson's getting more minutes. The starting center, he's growing each day. The money situation bears watching, and of course Quentin Grimes and RJ Barrett been another great story this season. Let's continue. They hit on the Quentin Grimes pick. A great two-way guard. That's just going to continue to get better and better, for this franchise. And like Sincere also agrees, Grimes, RJ, Cam, Obi, and Mitch. That'd be a fun lineup. And Reddish will get playing time past the deadline. I can almost guarantee you that. Yep, facts, Drew, as well, right? Just the time can't come soon enough, right? It can't come soon enough. And David, is Knox getting burned with the Hawks? Yeah, he's getting a little bit of burn. He is. Bickerstaff also better than Beeline, aka quit playing like a bunch of thugs, coach. And J-Dub, Deuce is more of a point guard than IQ. IQ is just dribble and can't finish around the basket, and his shot selection is poor as well. Yeah, absolutely facts with that. But he's got time to grow as well. Quickly can still be that guard, a backup power point guard off the bench. If he continues to mold his game and learn, that's what the development staff's here for, right? That's what the development staff's here for, to get things right, to help these players achieve their ceiling, right? Like all these other organizations are doing, trying to help these guys, Desmond Bain, Sadiq Bey, Jordan Poole, the list goes on and on. So many young, talented players that we picked players before them that are finding their way in the league. But, as a positive, Quentin Grimes doing his work this season, that was a hit. I'm very, very high on Deuce McBride. He's got a bright future in this league, does Deuce. And he's going to continue to get minutes either with the G League this season or some extra minutes with us maybe in the second half of this season, I think. So yeah, facts. You guys are lighting this thing up. The chat's on fire. The New York Knicks, it's time to switch things up. Are you excited? Like David's been saying, right? And also Drew. This part of the season. Some people aren't as down because we know what's to come, what's on the way. Salute Manchild. In terms of switching things up, this does have me somewhat excited, right? That the organization, I believe that they'll make the right decisions and pivot, right? Maybe not cut bait with all the vets straight away, but in the off season, or at least send off some vets so that by the off season we're sort of looking like we're trending where we need to be, right? And playing these young players more for their development. What's up, Manchild? What's up, Drew? It's just like keep trying to rush a rebuild, and then we need to build a team like the small market teams do. Because let's be real, every player either hates the Knicks or they think they are a joke. Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. Yeah, another depressing night in terms of Yeah, we knew what we were going to see. I was saying last night I'm numb when I watch the games now, ladies and gents, that I don't really hope for the win or expect the win because I know what's coming. Right, it's kind of like a kid just before Christmas. We're just waiting for that date, and just to see where things at, because we know this squad, this box score we're looking at, ain't it. This ain't going to be the squad we're looking at in 10 days from now, even sooner than that. And salute D, salute. Let's get it. Let's switch this thing up. A young point guard. Again, like I said, we have young, talented guards on this roster. We have somewhat of a foundation, to build from. It's now how do we surround them with the right young players as well to keep getting better and better. And I wholeheartedly believe now it could be addition by subtraction, right? Addition by subtraction in terms of moving on from a lot of these vets, and these young players step up, and who knows what we're going to see, right? We could even be a much better team this year. J-Dub, we must remember why we drafted Obi, because of Randle's bad first year. We should be more discreet with our contracts. Let's play the youth and stick with it as well. Absolutely facts, and we did have to pivot because obviously Julius had that crazy year, right? We drafted Obi and then Randle balled out, and to Obi's detriment, that's just been the reason why he's been stuck, in this situation. It's very, very unique, but we're seeing the light of day now. That's the main point. We're seeing the light of day. Manchild, it'll be more depressing if none of the vets don't get traded by Feb 10 as well. Yeah, I agree, but I don't think that'll happen. I think there'll definitely be some vets gone. I just can't see it going the other way. And Drew, 99% of the fan base thinks the exact same way. Yeah, with that said, Leon Rose, again, I keep saying that sometimes their family ties just get in the way a little bit, right? They just wanted, they're in a rush to give Julius the bag and reward him so quickly, right? The CAA connection, Aaron Mintz, head of CAA, Leon, all of that. I'm worried maybe, are they putting all their eggs in the Zion Williamson basket now, with Antonio Brown and CAA, right? So that bears watching as well, right? Sometimes this front office, again, you just need to function like an organization where you open the door for any player from any program, any college program, any former player or scout, assistant coach from any system, right? You can't close the doors and only work with certain agencies and things like that. That's what's got us stuck in this mud for so long, right? We need talent. It don't matter where they come from, right? They could be from any part of the world. You know what I mean? If they can help the New York Knicks, then get them here. And someone is definitely getting traded. Absolutely that. And Fournier, what do you guys think? In terms of his recent play, Evan Fournier's performances recently, I feel a lot more better about his chances of getting moved, I think. And Drew says, yeah, Leon should have let Randle play out his player option, and then it was a big mistake on his part as well. Yeah, absolutely. And I think he's kicking himself too. Imagine if we just let Randle play this season as a contract year, right? Let him work for that supermax or whatever it was, and now why organizations do that, right? They don't just pay the player the extension straight away. If they want to gamble on themselves, let them gamble on themselves. If they earn it, they earn it. But we all know Julius Randle stunk it up in the playoffs, didn't he? Right? It wasn't just a magical year all around. He played a great regular season, but he stunk it up in the playoffs, right? And we were quick to pay him. That was a mistake. And Sincere, all our veterans can add value to a team outside our market as well. Yeah, great point with that. That I agree. Alec Burks can help a team. Nerlens can help a team. Fournier can help. Derrick Rose. I'd be surprised if he does get traded, but Derrick Rose is going to have a lot of suitors as well. Even though he's injured, right? He's going to be healthy shortly after the trade deadline. And think of how many teams could benefit from having a D Rose type guy coming off their bench, right? that'd absolutely push a contender over the top, right? You don't know what teams might be willing to offer to get a D Rose up in here, right? A la a desperate LA Lakers or something like that. And like Drew says, yeah, Bron about to trade his entire roster, like nothing changed, right? Then he about to flee to Cleveland again next season or in 2 seasons, right? When he's done losing in LA, he'll get everybody traded, and then he'll hijack it, and then he'll send it to he'll take the trip over to Cleveland. And Drew says Miles Bridges is in the scenario Randle should have been in as well. Facts, yep, balling out for that extension and that contract right there, right? And yeah, it makes even more less sense now. The fact that Randle had his playoffs that he had, and the fact that we were so quick to pay that. You know what I mean? But what's done's done. Like we say before, Julius's contract is a friendly deal in terms of a reigning All-Star for $19 million, right? That's the best part about extending him, I guess. If you're to look at it on the bright side, the fact that Julius can be moved for just $19 million, and you don't need to bring in or match too much salary. I think that's going to be the situation that does entice some teams. I think that is going to be enticing, and a franchise that's been losing a hell of a lot, like the Sacramento Kings, I can see them really fleeing for that kind of name. Let's hope. Let's get it. Be civilized. Salute Nick family. Appreciate everybody up in here. It was another loss tonight, but another opportunity for all of us to chop this thing up. Let's switching things up. The future is pretty clear right now where the New York Knicks are headed. Changes on the horizon. And Sincere, Randle is a great contract piece, even with his bad play. Do you want Kevin Love? Kevin Love's been balling out now. That's going to be interesting to see. Kevin Love's been balling out. And salute Canal, salute. And Drew says 29 million actually once the extension kicks in. Okay. Yeah, it does definitely go up a little bit, jacked up, but it's not as bad as a lot of other role players too. And J-Dub, I don't want Zion. He seems to be injury prone and will have to give up the future. Guys, remember, we have to make a decision on Mitch at the end of the year, and then we have to make the decisions on RJ and Cam as well. Yeah, we could seriously cash strap ourselves if we don't do this thing properly, right? And Canal says, I think it would be best to trade him before the summer as well. Okay, yeah, in terms of what you think the harmony and the cohesion that we need to get ASAP. Again, we've got a lot of young players on this roster that need to have a nice example set, in terms of vet. And Manchild, Tibbs should take Kemba out the rotation again until we trade him. Yeah, I agree. Right. The time's nigh now. It was a joke. Joseph, hope bring in players who can dribble. We don't have that. It's below average. After Kemba, don't know who's the next close player. Yeah, facts spot on with that one. We have just a lot of players lacking fundamental skill sets, right? Shooting free throws, shooting off the dribble, breaking down the D, getting in the defensive stance, solid defensive principles, athleticism. This roster still has a lot of holes. Another positive is obviously we have a lot of draft picks still. We can afford to take some flyers with all the second round selections that we do have in the future coming up. And of course, we do have a couple of firsts still outside of our own firsts. The Dallas Mavericks one, and we can make some moves. We can wheel and deal with some of the assets. As I've been saying, I don't see no huge star swinging the needle this trade deadline, right? So this organization just needs to hang tight, I think, and make some smart some trades for some young talent. And Sincere, even at 29 mil, Randle contract is far less than Love contract and Tobias as well. Yep, straight facts as well. And Sincere, Ben Simmons is Tibbs' key to this system. Yep, that's true. That is absolutely true. And I just think Philadelphia's Philadelphia's demand right now, they're wanting a king's ransom, and it's going to be critical for them to get value back for Ben Simmons. There's rumors they just want James Harden. Um, for the New York Knicks to get Simmons, it's going to have to be a three-way deal where some team gives them what they want. We give them Randle and young players and picks, and they also get um, maybe even more back in the deal, right? I just don't know what Daryl Morey's even thinking right now. And D, I would trade Kemba and Fournier or other players to see how Randle plays without them before I'll trade Randle away as well. Okay. Yep. So yeah, we do have an asset D that's the lowest value right now. And I could see what you're saying in terms of letting Randle cook a little bit more to try and get that value back up, right? Playing with everybody else. And J Dub, CT, we have a bright future, just got to stick with it. Randle needs to be traded this summer when we'll get a better trade as well. Yeah, I can see that as well. Like D also said, you never trade a value an asset when their value is as low as it is right now, unless we have fear of this situation getting a lot worse. This situation could still get worse this season. If the New York Knicks do get an offer that they're happy with, they'll definitely consider it. Ian Begley is reporting now. The New York Knicks are open to dealing Julius. And so far, one team has emerged mostly, which is the Sacramento Kings. So we all know what pieces are available right now in Sacramento. Let's see what happens in terms of whether the New York Knicks would take pennies on the dollar, or would they like you guys wait to see ride this thing out with Julius Randle, because we need to do smart business again. Julius Randle started poorly in 2019. He worked his value up. We signed him. His value's gone back down. Possibly next year with different players, does that value have the potential to go back up again? It's a risky move, but it's definitely a possibility. Julius Randle's definitely upset with some of the things the organization's done. He's not just suddenly pouting and having bad body language just for the sake of it. I think he's upset with the fact that the moves we made, taking the pay cut, giving more Fournier money, giving Kemba money, and not bringing these guys back. I think, to me, that's what's upset Julius. Julius would be Junkyard Dog 2.0 in Sacktown. Yep. Yeah, it definitely could be a move to work that out. And Sacktown are desperate. They're in a desperate situation right now. They've been doing a lot of losing, more than us, right? Which is crazy to think. And yeah, B saying it. Randle is playing like his first year. He definitely reverted back to the bad habits as well. Yep. And he's not being held accountable, right? It's back to the Fizdale, the David Fizdale treatment with Julius Randle, I feel. And look, that's a knock on Julius, right? What did he say when Tibbs came in? He said, "All I want was a coach that can hold me accountable. All I want is a coach that's going to push me hard and motivate me to succeed and be where I need to be." And that's what Tibbs did in his first season. And now his second season, Julius has reverted back to the old Julius. In terms of giving effort, body language, defensively. And a knock on Julius his whole career was defense, right? In New Orleans, his defense was horrible. In LA, his defense was bad. And that 1 year last season, he gave maximum effort to hopefully try and get that bag, and he gave great defensive effort. And now he's regressed that in that regard in his game. Like, you can't just be not shooting well, not other parts of your game regress, but not giving the effort as well. And that has fans completely frustrated and fed up. What trade would I do? I think Kemba, Fournier, and Burks is more of a priority to trade. Yep, absolutely, I agree. Like I've been saying for about a week now, J Dub, Fournier, Kemba, and Burks are the priority before Randle as well. Just because they're a lot easier to move to. With Fournier, let's get out of that 19 mil. Let's send him, to Portland maybe, or to somewhere where he can help them. Alec Burks as well. A lot of contenders can do with help with Alec Burks. I think That's definitely that's a given. I could see Alec Burks getting traded, and Kemba I can see getting bought out, or or hopefully traded for a second rounder. But I can't see anything more, or maybe in a third team deal, like a throw in. And Drew, I don't get why people hate on Obi's D, because he's way better than Randle right now. Yeah, he gives effort, right? Anything Obi gives up on D, Drew, is just his shortcomings, but he's definitely trying. He's trying right now. And to be honest, I don't even think Tibbs hates Obi as much as people think, right? He does play him still. I just think Tibbs, again, he's going back to his old ways. He's 64, and he just wants to play every vet that he thinks can help him play hard enough to win. And he's not willing to ride and die with Obi's mistakes, right, on a game by game basis. And welcome, Frank. Salute. Appreciate you on fire up in here. The chat's got us buzzing tonight, this morning. We're switching things up now. It's clear to see this front office and this coaching staff has given these vets enough time. They've given them so much time, and we're just biding time now to the trade deadline. The writing is on the wall. There's some lame ducks now on this roster, and I think it's coming to a head right now. So look out for some more news tomorrow and the days following. The stories in the papers, the reports from ESPN, SNY, the Post, and Daily News, everywhere, all the pods. Look out for more news in the coming days. More rumors. They see these rumors. Part of the reason why I think they played hard tonight is because they know what's up. They know what's coming. Sincere Randle really needs a fan media friendly market like the Pacers or the Raptors as well. Yeah, to I think Randle just needs a deep squad, right? Randle on a squad with depth, and he's going to look like a different player, and a roster with a stretch five as well. And yeah, Manchild, appreciate that. Yeah, the Kings did end their pursuit of Simmons. They're frustrated. They're fed up with the Daryl Morey acting a fool, his demands, and what does that go to tell you too? They have a lot of pieces and parts, but Philly want no piece of that. Philly want mainly one major piece. They want a player better than Ben Simmons almost to get to do that swap. Which is a very flawed way of thinking. And like Drew says, sincere, yeah, well, just to stroke Randle's ego. And Toronto media is hostile as well, because Manchild does know that all too well. He's up there. But Julius just needs thicker skin. Julius can't just be sheltered everywhere he goes. He needs to be in a situation where he's prepared to accept criticism. And no doubt he's obviously frustrated being called out by the fans, getting booed. He feels like his work last season, earned him a leash with the fan base, earned him a leash with the NBA fraternity in terms of, but we're unforgiving here in terms of you're stinking it up. You're not giving maximum effort at all. You're not giving any effort on D. It's crazy right there. And Drew, especially Drake, sitting courtside every home game. Yeah, like I said, though, he does have players that he can hide around a roster, that he can hide around as well. And in terms of switching things up, we see the players that are DNPs, the Deuces, the Sims, Cam Reddishes, DNP CD. That's my lone excitement, in terms of coming post trade deadline. Is that the situation is we're going to have a much more open runway for these players after the trade deadline, and it's going to be exciting to watch. And David's saying, a friend texted him, there's a blizzard in New York right now. The Knicks might have trouble flying back. Wow. Yeah, let's hope. Prayers up to everybody, and hopefully, things go according to plan. We need as minimal disruptions on this thing right now as possible. Frank, how can we have this same team when we play the Kings at home? The fans are going to make it ugly as well. Absolutely, Frank. fans are fed up with this situation, right? I think everyone knows now we're just showcasing guys. We're listening to offers like all the reports, and we're ready to make some moves, wheeling and dealing. And I know it's frustrating, right? Because we can't stand to see these same lineups straight out there every single time. But I feel like, we're going to get a solid 25, 30 games of these young players balling out post trade deadline. That's what I'm hoping for. And Manchild says, give Randle away for free. We've got to do business. We've got to recoup what we had in terms of we lost last season in Randle and that asset. Obviously, we're back to where we were in 2019 when Randle was a sunken cost, right? How ironic is that? Where we're back to that situation where we have a player with no value at all. And like Drew says to Frank, and what sucks is if Randle's trash again, we know the Kings won't pursue him. And so I'm actually rooting for Julius against Sacktown. J-Dub, Tibbs is more loyal to the player than the team. Randle needs to go off to a playoff team with a strong winning tradition. He is a third scorer on a playoff team and a fourth on a chip team as well. Yeah, I can't disagree with that. He's a role player essentially. He's got limitations, shot creating, limitations on the defensive end, limitations, thinking, critical IQ, thinking out of the double teams, moving the ball. His handle's not elite either. Again, a team that's trying to win with Julius, caution, buyer beware. For that, they need a deep roster. I think, any team thinking of entertaining a Julius Randle move, they need a deep roster. And like you say, he needs to be the third, fourth team, option on that current team, right? Because it's going to be tough. Yeah, and in terms of Tom, like I said, that's on Leon Rose as well. J-Dub, Tibbs got brought in, 64 years old, to try and win now. And I think that, the front office did fail Tibbs somewhat, because they hired Tibbs with hopes of winning. You don't hire Tibbs, expecting to not win. And so they failed him in terms of pieces that they've given Tibbs and surrounding him with pieces. Because at the end of the day, we made minor upgrades offensively, but the players we parted with, thou shall not be named. They had other skill sets that helped the team. They had skill sets that helped us, and we missed that right now. So, Leon Rose is learning on the fly. He's got a lot to prove to me, and it starts with this trade deadline. Leon Rose has got a lot of work. Scott Perry, World Wide West, they're stealing money from James Dolan right now, and absolutely they need to put their money where their mouth is and fix this thing. And Drew says, I'm not gonna lie, the Doris Burke Twitter thread right now is an absolute must scroll. Hey, please enlighten us, Drew. What's going on with Doris Burke and the Twitter feed right now? We're keeping this buzzing. The trade deadline periods are fast approaching, and at this point in time, we need to prioritize the future, because the timeline now is on Star J Barrett's timeline. There's no lie. Cam Reddish now, Mitch, Deuce Sims, Quickly Obi, all of those fellas, and who else we can bring in for Julius. I'm okay with that. We've done enough losing for so long. I just want to continue down the right path, and we're headed to mediocrity. Yes, I want to win games now, and it hurts, but to continue to push this agenda with these vets, they're not the right vets that we have. If you have the right vets and you have potential and they're just underachieving, then I'm okay to continue to rock with them and and see where they can fight through it. But these vets, they're not the right vets right now, right? They're not their skill sets and not conducive to winning in terms of where they've been in their careers as well. Evan Fournier's never really helped any organization win, and Kemba Walker has only been on losing franchises, barring the 1 year in Charlotte, where they made the playoffs. but neither of them have been able to help their franchises win. And David says in the post game, Tibbs actually brought up the turnovers. Didn't mention Randle specifically, but you kind of knew where he was going. Appreciate that, Drew. David, I haven't seen the presser yet, but he's starting to probably use scapegoats now. He's probably trying to turn to different things to deflect the situation, right? Because he's playing guys and they're just not producing for him. Manchild, we've got to find a sucker team to trade for Randle, right? Sacramento Kings, does that come to mind? For me, they're desperate. They've been losing as well. Just like when some of us were excited to get Kemba Walker, a player we weren't watching closely. Maybe Sacramento think they can turn Randle back to the Randle last season. Let's hope. And Drew says that they're basically just roasting Doris Burke. Okay. Wow. 007, salute. Time to switch this thing up. The New York Knicks do have a bright future. We've got assets. We've got young players, stars that are on the come up. RJ Barrett, another solid performance tonight. He's still growing in confidence. You can see him smiling out there when he's getting more burn. I'm all for that, right? And Cam Reddish as well. J-Dub, to be honest, I don't think Tibbs was their first choice. RJ is the face of the franchise. Let's pivot towards him, not Randle. We got backup vets playing like starter minutes as well. Absolutely, J-Dub. And to be honest, Tibbs, not the first choice coach. It's difficult for me to say, but I think, Leon Rose did go with someone who he's familiar with. He was definitely probably the second or third option, if not their first. And the fact that, they've been close, sometimes that is a detriment to winning, right? Leon Rose is giving Tom Thibodeau a lot of leash because they're close, right? And their friendship and their relationships. And like I've been saying, I just want the New York Knicks to cut all these buddy relationships and just open the organization's doors to, to whoever is the best talented player, to whoever's the best talent that can help us win, right? Don't just be rocking CAA, Kentucky. And a salute, Julian. Salute. Joseph, if we can't get back after a high caliber player, trading. Fournier won an Olympic medal. He's just not consistent. Yeah. He hasn't been winning in terms of the NBA. And I salute Julian. Salute. A fellow Aussie up in here. Salute. And appreciate it. Drew sent me something on Twitter. Let me just pull it up. Okay. Let me just pull this one up. Okay, you got Big Trav. Yes, salute Big Trav, Ryan Music. If this guy turns his play around, it would be hell of a story. Okay, look at the comment below the post as well. Okay, wow. You got Julius's wife up in here as well. Yeah, that's crazy. Appreciate that, Drew. Back and forth with people's family. Julius's wife commenting saying he will turn it around. But that's the thing, these guys need to stay off socials. You know what I mean? Like, just keep your head in the game, right? Switch it off. I know Kendra and Julius here. They embraced New York last season. The spotlight, and it's all good when you're winning. When you're in New York and you're winning, no, there's nowhere better. But also, when you're losing, it's not for everybody. There are only so many people that can handle a losing situation in New York because it can get pretty toxic, like we all know. Ain't gonna lie. Not saying all New York Knicks fans are toxic. I just think the reality that's been created for us in terms of losing for 30 years, right? Enough losing will make people go crazy, basically, or their patience wear thin. Many of us have been alive so long that we haven't even seen a winner at all since the 70s. And Sincere Tibbs is the best coach if you want to create defense as the foundation for the young players as well. Yeah, he could establish winning habits, definitely, Sincere. I just think, is he gonna be willing to stick around with and be patient with a roster full of young players, that doesn't have the vets as well, and I agree, man, Manchild, this Kentucky CAA thing just has to end, right? Um, just open the organization's doors to whoever's the best talent out here, Even don't be ashamed to look within other organizations, We brought Scott Perry in here. He had connections with Detroit and everybody else. And Julian says, I don't think if the CAA thing is that big of an issue, Cam Reddish is clutch, and we got him as well. Yeah, it's more a thing in terms of the very top of the organization, the hierarchy, with Tibbs and Leon and Dolan. Dolan putting his trust in there, and I salute Troy. Salute Tibbs's defense is effing horrible. I think, yeah, his message is wearing thin as well. The timeline, the knock on Tibbs is that his first season is overachieving. The second season for Tibbs will be starting to wear thin. The third season it'll blow up. Drew, I don't know. I feel like I see this every celebrity, but the thing is they have to keep their world as small as possible. That takes into account count of not being on social media frequently and other stuff. Yeah, as well. And don't forget, they're young too. We hold these people in the highest standard, but they're so young in life still, right? Julius Randle, 27 years old. His wife, I assume, is same age, and a lot of other people too. They're in situations where they're learning as human beings on the go, right? You turn on your phone, all you see is trolls, DMs, all that mistake, all that noise, and uh, um, bringing attention to your mistakes. So they need to acknowledge that and stay away from that. And Drew says, I doubt Calipari is leaving Kentucky. And J-Dub, yeah, Dolan pockets are larger. So, yeah, and the situation with Cam Reddish, right? The New York Knicks, you guys all seem to be quite confident that the Knicks are going to play Cam a lot. We made the trade, moved to first round selection, even though it wasn't a really high selection, but we still gave away that asset. And Cam needs to be paid, like we say, next season. Cam Reddish has his contract up for negotiation, and so with that said, Cam needs to play so we know what he is. How we know what kind of asset we have. If we're not giving him the burn. And Drew says this even comes with other people like influencers and other YouTubers. Just block out the noise and listen to the constructive criticism. Yep, absolutely. And I always say too, if you got haters, then you're doing something right as well. You know what I mean? Because there are people, hating for other reasons. And did I see the sequence where Obi fell and Randall looked back and kept walking away? Yep, absolutely, Julian. I saw that too. We commented on that just earlier today in the show, and it was funny to see. Basically, I just had a laugh at it because it just didn't surprise me in the least. It's a sad situation to see, but this rivalry between the two. They say they push each other, but at the end of the day, there's going to be words had when either Obi or Randall moves on. Eventually, whichever one moves on first, there's probably going to be some animosity between those two, right? And that's just a sad situation, right? They're teammates. And Leon Rose created the best bench in the league. Yeah, when D Rose is fully functioning, and salute Tay. If Tibbs doesn't change his vet stance or they're traded, I'd love to get Mark Jackson. He doesn't get enough credit for creating the foundation at the Golden State Warriors and grooming the youth then as well. Yeah, he does have a bad rap, Mark Jackson. A lot of things that count against Mark, outside of the game, outside of the league. But at the end of the day, he has situations where he can hopefully get an opportunity coming up to dispel some of those things. But yeah, we touched on the Obi thing where he fell to the ground and wasn't helped up. It's not a pretty sight, and and that is the pro for trading Julius. All these people that say we want to hold on to Julius, um, the more we let this team continue to play out on the court and let this body language and things fly, it's going to be more of a distraction. Remember KP got disgruntled because there was the mellow distraction each and every night. Do we really want to subject our future RJ Barrett to all this shade and all this dysfunction going on, right? Or would we want to nip it in the bud ASAP, right, and just show him that here are the keys, right, and we're going to move on from that other guy now that can get us some more young pieces to fit your timeline. I think that would be, there'd be pros and cons, obviously, for everything. And 007, Angelo, Tibbs lost the team a long time ago. His stubbornness to play the vets is infuriating as well. And what's also interesting is, some of the players were put off when Kemba Walker got benched early in the season, got taken out of the rotation so soon. But now, it's not looking like a bad move, but I guess that was another thing that upset some players in the locker room. And Drew says, to Julian, I actually just found that on Twitter. I sent, just to me as well, in terms of that situation. I'm happy to bring that up. If anybody hasn't seen it yet, I'm going to bring up the play where Randle just didn't help OB up off the floor. He actually looked at him too, which was crazy. So I'm just going to bring that up now. Yep. So here we go. You can see fumble layup. Obi hits the ground. Randle turns back, frustrated, walks the other way, turns the other cheek. Yep. So that's crazy. Yeah, that's what I mean in terms of distractions. Each and every night, seeing more of that. That's just going to be something that's going to be a distraction. Again, subjecting RJ Barrett to this kind of dysfunction. It's going to have adverse effects. And I salute Lynn, salute. When fans are lauding a player and his wife, the king and queen of a city, they bask in the glory, all its gravy. But when said player plays awful and the cheers turn to jeers, they can't deal as well. It's a classic case of people wanting to take the good without taking the bad. They want the spotlight, the joy, the media, the bright lights, everything that New York City offers people, right? But when winning's not being had, people flame out of here quicker than anything. It's happened in the past with so many other vets. We'd sign a vet, in 1 year, and then that they'd stop producing the way they normally produce. And I think, like we all know, what gets New York Knicks fans excited, and that's effort and dedication and energy, and that's exactly what got Julius the respect back that he lost in 2019. Julius earned everybody's respect back through his play, but through his effort, his energy, and all of that. And it's funny for him to not understand the reason why fans got upset again, and not realizing that is the way to win fans back again, right? Not saying things like that in the locker room and the press conference as well. 007, Randle wants to take his money and run. He's a cancer on the team, and time to cut the cancer out. And Drew says, let's be real, the real king of New York is Pop Smoke. Julian, happened again. Sorry, it was a clip, not a pick. You can see it, Legion. I pulled that one up. And no, I meant I just want to play the vets. I meant he just wants to play the vets. This was a perfect time to put some young players on the starting lineup as well. And like we say, we've got so many young players that we don't know who they are yet, and some of them need to be paid soon. We have vets so we know who they are. Julius Randle, Evan Fournier, Kemba Walker, Alec Burks, Nerlens Noel, or Taj Gibson. Their games are never going to change from what they are right now, right? They've reached their ceiling, and we know who they are. These other young players, so many of them, we don't know who they are at this point. And Yeah, could we be sitting on some hidden gems like we never, never been fortunate enough to uncover, right? And I've always got to look at the organization's track record, um, record in terms of drafting. Like the fact that there is this Charlie Ward curse, this thing called the Charlie Ward curse, is ridiculous. Um, a player that hasn't been signed on their second rookie contract after being drafted since the 1990s, right? That's just astonishing. And if we trade Mitchell Robinson, he'll be another player that never, failed to reach that. Um, to get to be that guy, to be re-signed, right? And break the Charlie Ward curse. No stability up in here. No growth from within, right? There is such thing called organic growth, where you have an asset or you have a player or something, and you teach it, you mentor it, you let it blossom, and you watch it grow, right? Like a plant or a flower. Um, you know, like when you have a young child grow as well, and you teach it new things. Um, in this situation, the New York Knicks have always, their route has been to try to sign a player that's already at their peak, right, and cut out all that hard work that it takes to get to that point. Microwave this thing, like we say, instead of let it slow cook. And J Dub Randle has to go. I believe he is mad with the direction of the team, yeah, and Tibbs is mad too. That's why Leon knows that Tibbs and Randle didn't want Fournier nor Kemba on the team as well. Yeah, and how did that happen? They've got to get on the same page, right? How does the front office go and sign players that don't fit what their main wheels are, their main horses? You need to build around them. Feb 3rd, say bye to them. From Julius Caesar to Little Caesar as well. Yeah, salute. I've heard that one going around as well. And it's interesting because this is a situation where fans again, we're having the same discussions like we have so many years, year upon year, right? Turning on a certain player, that's flamed out, it's not working out. Like Lynn's point, players want to come here for the shine, but they're not prepared to get down and dirty and get stuck in the mud and fix this thing, when it's not going the way we want it. And it's on the front office now, the head of this ship, to right the ship, and this trade deadline, clear the runway, right? Set the expectations, front the media first and foremost, right? After this trade deadline, if we make a significant shift, this front office needs to come and chat to the media, talk about, okay, this is where we're headed now. We made these moves. This is what we're hoping to rock with this season, and look into the summer to sign some free agents again. Because we're sort of been treated. We're all customers, paying customers. We've been treated like fools in a way, in terms of not being acknowledged. You know what I mean? We're expected to go to the arena and pay money, support the team through thick and thin, but when it comes to wanting questions answered and understanding where the organization is going, right? We're expected to listen to silence. You know what I mean? And that has a lot of people upset. And 007 Angelo, the fans are going to lose their minds on Monday when they see the exact losing strategy by Tibbs at MSG. Don't get too comfy in New York, Tibbs. The pink slip is on its way. Yeah, he could go down in the sinking ship to Tibbs, fall on his sword, because this situation, right? He's just being way too stubborn, right? I don't even know if Leon's telling him to play Kemba and Fournier, but I would push back severely, and I would just say, hey, this thing is not working, right? At least play some guys that give you effort, like Deuce McBride. Quentin Grimes needs to play all the minutes he can get, right? I'm all for that. And Drew Leon, aka Jabba in the Hut, ain't speaking to the media. No, that he ain't. Again, Jabba the Hut. I don't know what Leon Rose. He's trying to do work behind the scenes. He's trying to wow us, surprise us, all of that. But he just doesn't look like a guy confident speaking, and that's a fact, right? His first press conference. Remember, it was more of a staged press conference, like Zoom conference call, right? Where he probably had cue cards on what to say. Um, but yeah, for a guy that's been a people person his whole life, right? I would have thought Leon Rose would be more confident, coming out and talking. Or is it maybe James Dolan putting a bit of a mox on it? And this team really misses D Rose's day-to-day leadership. Rose commands the respect of his teammates as well, yeah, and he wills people on to play harder, try harder, and with his effort, he leads by example. Like you say, when we're down in the games, D Rose will take it upon himself to go get 6 easy points and will this team on his back. But to that point, D Rose is still around. He's still with the team. He's just a quiet leader. If D Rose really wants to, he could be in the locker room, telling people what's up, as well. And Drew, why not just make Johnny Bryant the interim? That's going to be, stay tuned for that, Drew, with the summer coming up. I think Tibbs is going to last this season, but in the summer, all things are on the table. I think, especially if we flame out and we miss the play-in, we make trades for the future, and it's clear that Tibbs just ain't the guy. And like J Dub says, yeah, I agree. Leon has to have a solid direction, and your coach and the star player need to agree and be on the same page. Leon's personnel decision has caused the problem. Yeah, in a way, they're very, very accountable for what's going on, because they gave Julius the contract. Yeah, they're probably upset with Julius as anybody, because they hoped he would give maximum effort and come out looking more like last season's Julius. But the front office now has the opportunity to pivot, and correct some of these moves. We've all made mistakes before, but how you respond to them and how you react is going to be telling. If they try to fix these bad decisions with another band-aid patch job, and it backfires, let's say they take on more salary to limit this team's growth, that's not going to fly. That's not going to fly with this fan base, I feel. And Manchild, I won't mind if we lose with the youth, than these so-called vets as well. Yeah, I'm on that train as well, 100%, Manchild. If we're taking an L, but players are learning and growing, then that loss is for something. You gain something in that loss. But if you lose with Kemba Walker, Alec Burks, Randall, and that, you're not gaining nothing out of that. You're just gaining ridicule, because we signed these guys thinking that they would get us to dubs, when it's doing the exact opposite, right? We could be losing games and growing confidence of other players. And Drew says that he's just letting me know that we are missing the play-in. There's no point even trying to think about that we have a shot. I can agree with that, Drew, absolutely. But it depends on what moves get made. They might make some moves with the intentions of trying to make the play-in still. But at the end of the day, we've all seen teams getting shaken up before, and then they start to play a lot harder. But to your point, the schedule is just way too tough right now. It's way, way too tough. And I don't see us fighting through this crazy stretch again. For those that just came in later, you may or may not know the stretch coming up, but we've got the King, a brutal West Coast trip soon, but the Kings at home, the Grizzlies at home, and then on the road to the Lakers, Jazz, Nuggets, Warriors, Blazers, Thunder, Nets, Heat, the Sixers back to back, then the Suns. So after the trade deadline, it gets even harder than what it's been, and it's going to be a train wreck. If we don't make solid moves and continue with these vets, it's going to be a train wreck. And Drew, all I know is we're actually a good team when we should have been 7-1 in the first 8 games of the season. All I know is if we were actually going to be a good team, exactly. I predicted we should have been 8-2. If we were going to smoke the season, we couldn't afford to actually start that slow, and we had an actual weak schedule. Facts that we certainly did. And Julian, I think the front office want to rebuild with the youth movement. SNY reported that all the vets except Taj and Rose are on the block, and also IQ and Obi are off the table. Yeah, it's looking that way, Julian. Absolutely. with those vets, wanting to see what we can get for them. And you've got to start with Fournier because there's two more guaranteed years after this season. Whereas Alec Burks and Noel, there's only one more guaranteed year after this season. And J Dub, here's the question: will Tibbs agree with the youth direction, or will Tibbs sabotage it as well? Absolutely, he's not with the youth direction, in my opinion. He'll go down on his sword. I think he'll go down on his sword with Leon. He'll try to convince him and argue. He'll say, no, but get me this player, and I can do it. But I just think Tibbs is waning thin as well. His patience, you see his frustration with Julius. He's 64 years old. There's only so much but he can take. And he certainly won't want to last for a rebuild, just because of his age. He won't want to be around for this long. Lynn, I don't trust this front office to make the right. They've made some good evaluation on picks, but free agency been an absolute bust. I can agree with that. They need to show us. They haven't shown us nothing yet, to be honest, outside of, like you say, the drafting. Drafting's been pretty solid and much more improved on years past. But the biggest thing is, to spend money. Maximizing talent and the roster with the cap space that you have, and they certainly haven't maximized that. It's only lucky that they say they're bacon by giving out short-term deals and short money that is tradable. And what have they done for us lately? Let's see what they do in the trade period, because I like the Cam move, but they absolutely need to clear the runway, like Julian was saying. And we all know who Tibbs is. You really think, that a 64-year-old coach can change his ways this late at the stage? Yep, there's a reason he got fired a few times. And you know what they say about coaches? You're only hired to be fired, right? You're only keeping the seat warm for the next guy. And maybe that next guy is Johnny Bryant, coach in waiting. The New York Knicks, like I said, they're realizing what we're realizing this season. They probably had hopes that we would get to the points, from last season and then build upon that. But no, it's been the opposite, been the other direction. And it's taken us half a season to see this now. And they need to reset the timeline, reset the expectations and reset the timeline for everybody, for everything. Empower RJ, let him know, hey, this is your future, this is where you're at. Ball out for one more year and you've got the rookie extension sitting there waiting for you. What we did is we went and get your guy from college, Cam Reddish, who's also in a similar position. We're going to give him a runway, give him a chance to ball out and see what he can do next to you, right? Also, here are some other young kids that have fit your timeline, right? Let's see you all mold and grow together with some right bets as well, and see where this thing can go, and reset things. And Drew says, yeah, will he cause? He will, because he's a veteran, and that gives a veteran a shot over the future backup center like Jericho. And Day-Dub, this is why he thinks the decision will force Tibbs out as well. Yeah, it's going to be another sad situation if Tibbs is another coach getting fired and then getting paid again on a 5-year deal. He's only in his 2nd-year deal, right? I don't think will Dolan want to eat 3 more years of money? Right? I won't want to be that person to tell Dolan, right? Leon Rose. If Leon Rose has to knock on Dolan's door and say, hey, you trusted me to be the president again, just like Steve Mills trusted and gave Fizdale the reins. You trusted me and I gave Tibbs the reins, and now I'm asking you to eat 3 years of his salary. I mean, James Dolan ain't going to be happy. He could have been like, man, I should have kept Steve Mills. If what you got me as coach is getting fired, I could have kept Steve Mills up in here. So it's going to be crazy to think what's going to happen with this Tibbs Leon Dolan situation as well. There's a lot going on. And Sincere, this year's pick is from the KP trade as well. I think, the KP trade, I think, is 2023, though. I think it might be the next, the one after this one. But Drew says, I'm surprised you think Tibbs is on the hot seat now. yeah, like I just said, I could see him being moved on in the off season, not in the middle of the season, but I think it's unlikely. Um, I wouldn't say that it's likely, Drew, but I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked. Um, yeah, Manshot, if Leon chooses to go with the youth, he has to bring in a young coach as well. Yeah, that can relate with that as well. Yeah, exactly. They need to go hand in hand with that situation. And sincere, Tibbs is only loyal to Randle because he got him Coach of the Year. Facts. He balled out, and I think he's probably peeved. I'll be honest with you. Tibbs is trying to preach effort and energy and all that, and Julius is giving that. He's supposed to be the trendsetter, the leader of this, right? He's probably tanking it to get Tibbs fired, even. So I think, yeah, Tibbs has got to be upset with Randle with this situation. I don't think he could be happy. And I always don't forget Dolan brought back Steve Mills too. Drew, facts. You know what I mean? He's probably still a consultant, just like Isaiah. And I didn't purposely want to drop that name, Isaiah. It just came into my head. But maybe he goes back one chapter even earlier than that, and he brings back Isaiah. He's been looking for an excuse to bring Isaiah back into the fold, right? All these failed presidents. Maybe Dolan just wants to go back to what he always wanted. He never wanted to let Isaiah go. He just had to because of the crazy situation going on there. And Julian Tibbs does annoy me sometimes, but overall, I still like him as a coach. He did change our culture moving forward, although I'm kind of on the fence as well. Yeah, like we've been saying, Tibbs has his strong points. He has his shortcomings. The shortcomings look even glaring. They come home to roost when the things just don't fit what he's looking for, his philosophy, because Tibbs is rigid. He's so rigid and unwilling to change, and also the fact that he's 64 years old again. The core, to be honest, a trend with the core mistakes this organization's made over a long period of time is bringing in guys past their prime, trying to recoup what they've lost in their careers, trying to make up for past failures. And Tom Thibodeau is another thing, right? Bringing in a guy that's just trying to rekindle what he had in Chicago with D Rose and Taj, trying to rekindle the lost years in Mini in Chicago, right? That's where we're going wrong, right? We need to be bringing in a player and coaches with their future ahead of them, right? Somebody who can grow into being the best that they can be, not that their best being past them. And I think that's what the biggest mistake this organization. We're always name chasing, and we're always trying to go for personnel that have had their best years past them. And 007 Tibbs can't even win a bingo game, let alone a chip. And so we're going to go there. Elf, Bullock, and Pinson were the real MVPs of this thing, and the culture, the locker room. And on that note, it was confirmed to us that the New York Knicks were patient in the trade period last season because of the chemistry. Right? They had the opportunity to make upgrades last season, and one of them was Miles Turner. Apparently, the New York Knicks were considering, but they didn't want to shake up the locker room too much last season. They saw us heading they thought we were trending in the right direction, and so they left it as is. They got D Rose and they just left it. But this season it's the complete opposite right now. This season they need to they need to make moves to bring in cohesion and chemistry right here, because it's dysfunction right now. That Randle clip right now today, that's going to get played, best believe it, all day and tomorrow on socials, right? As this trade buzz, these rumors continue to swirl, right? How long before Cam Reddish gets frustrated as well? And J-Dub, I think Tibbs won't want Randle gone. No, I think Tibbs want Randle gone so he can have the respect of his team back. Randle is really make Tibbs look bad because of the riff in the team. And I feel sorry for Tibbs. Yeah, we could see a situation where they're starting to feel some type of way with each other, right? Throwing each other under the bus, it seems, right? it's interesting. But Julius does seem like he wants to stay still. I mean, if you believe the PR story that came out today, that dropped at the convenient time. Let's see what happens in the next coming week. Julian, I wanted to hire Kenny Atkinson at the time. I didn't think our team was ready to win now yet. And even yet, like my man-child, Sam Cassell Stack could do a better job than Tibbs. And like I just said earlier, sometimes you just need to bring in someone that just needs that opportunity to succeed, right? Bring their new philosophy to this team. Tibbs is good at what he's good at. Defense, preaching your principles, setting the table. He's a table setter. He's Tom Thibodeau, right? He's not here for the long haul. He's here to set the table, and probably the next guy is going to walk in like Steve Kerr was in Golden State, and win that chip. And I know I'm being hard on Tibbs. He's the guy to set the table and instill the discipline and work ethic, but he can't take you to the championship. It's sad that it's all falling apart, right, in Tibbs' second season. And we always say that saying too, you could be a victim of your own success. And what happened last season? Leon Rose thought they were closer than what they were. Tom Thibodeau thought they were a lot closer. And they went all in. They got some pieces here. If Tom Thibodeau didn't get us to the 4th seed this season, last season he'd be safe. He'd absolutely be safe. But people feel like we're peaked with Tibbs now, and we're going the other way. We're regressing. And that's what can get a coach fired. And Jimmy needs to smack Julius upside his head a few times to bring Julius back to reality. And Lynn credit him for his development. Kenny also helped D'Lo become an all-star. He is a point guard whisperer. And Quinn Snyder is also another point guard whisperer. And at the end of the day, it's also up to the players to work on their game. In Minnesota, with him there, Cat and Wiggins didn't work on their game, according to Jimmy. Yeah, as well. Facts. Absolutely facts. So, it's been a great conversation. Time to switch things up. We're looking deep within this organization, and where we can pivot, and changes that are on the horizon. Absolutely, stay tuned and stay locked in, because the streets are only going to continue to get buzzing louder than what they've been doing. It's been a crazy season so far, right? It feels like it's been 3-4 seasons in one already. I know we've been starved of basketball with some of the lost pandemic seasons, right? But it's been the full season so far. All-Star breaks coming up soon, the trade deadline, the draft before we know it. Then there'll be the summer free agency all over again. Like I said, I'm not mad or angry with this situation. I'm just feeling a bit numb to it all right now, and just wanting to see what this front office can do for us. To see what they can produce. And salute Bodega. Lakers coach needed permission to bench Westbrook. That's crazy out there, and that situation that's going on. But yeah, the flexibility can get this team, to a situation that we're all happy with, right? Giving RJ minutes that he needs, Cam, the young players, and I think this trade deadline is going to show us, just how smart the front office is too. Are they like so many of the previous regimes, stuck in their old ways, like Steve Mills, Isaiah, Fizdale, trying to try and repair an open wound with a Band-Aid, right? Or do we just rip the Band-Aid off and we just not tank, but we just pivot to the players that we have upside on our roster? All the players that have upside, give all them the minutes that they need, to continue to rock out and grow and have their future ahead of them, and achieve things that we haven't had here for a long time, like multiple all-star berths. Everything we've had recently has been a flash in the pan. All of the recent success we've had have been flash in the pans, right? We all just want sustainable winning, and the only way you can win sustainably is when you build a solid foundation, so that those foundations are set, right? We keep chopping and changing roster overhauls and coaches every single year, right? The foundation's never going to get set. And free agents and talent around the league is always going to look at us like, man, they can just never get their act together. The same LOL Knicks. I'm not going to go there. You know what I mean? That same narrative that we're trying to debunk, time and time again, right? And that is why a lot of teams are calling us now for our young players, right? Thinking that we can get off of them like quickly right now. 11 minutes. Um, you know, it's no surprise to me that a lot of teams are calling us as well. Appreciate J Dub. Leon is on the clock. Trade deadline. So what you got for us, Leon? Peace and good night. And yeah, like I said, on that note, it's been a great show rocking out on this late show. The New York Knicks went down to Milwaukee again. Same old story, same old. Let's wake up tomorrow and see if there's something shake loose, something change. More of these players are going to have to read their names in the paper, and that's, no fault of their own, right? But you guys have been awesome. The chat, always the best chat in the business, keeping things rocking, keeping things rolling, keeping things buzzing as always. We'll be back for you in a New York minute. Until then, take care. Look out for yourself, your family, loved ones, and stay tuned for what's to come. I'm locked and loaded, strapped, ready to rock, buckled in this roller coaster, and I'll jump on if there's anything breaking. But outside of that, I'll be back on on Monday or in the new week. Let's see what happens tomorrow. In the new week. Next week, we'll have some more guests on. Look forward to bringing that out there. And till then, let's get it. Peace.